Hello, it is Tara Boothby, Soldier in Psychology, and I want to take some time to talk about the psychology of voting. So it's a pretty precarious time right now, and there's a lot of backstory that I'm just going to preface this conversation with. So, you know, we've been in a stress pileup. And so stress pileup is just like a cluster of stressful things that come together and intensify the stress that we're experiencing and intensify our stress reaction. So then, we have global distress, we have this recent history of the pandemic and lockdowns and these things. So it's like this experience where our lid is getting flipped collectively. So our lid is flipped. That means that we're in an adrenal experience. We're having additional cortisol. There's all sorts of things that are going on to intensify our flight, fight, freeze, fawn reaction. So our lid is flipped. We're at risk of limited ability to navigate decision making, heightened emotion, increased anxiety, heart rate, all these things that exasperate our ability to choose well and to be centered, to be grounded, to live within our window of tolerance. This is an important thing to notice, okay? We've had different political stressors, concerns for the American election. A lot of our focus is going towards what's going on in the United States right now. And then we're leading into our Canadian election. Now, this is one of the concerns that I'm going to preface is so much of our attention is going towards the United States that some of us just need to be reminded that we're in a really important time and your decision matters. And so we want to put our attention back on what's going on in our own country to focus on the decision that we're all facing in our town or our community. I live in a hamlet. I need to focus on my hamlet, our province, and then again, our nation. So being informed at the pace you can. And I think a lot of us have put up more and more limits with paying attention to the news. This is a time to figure out how to titrate. So titrate is pacing. Like, how can I pay attention to the news and stay as close to my window of tolerance, hopefully within my window of tolerance, and still be informed? We want to know what's going on. We want to be paying attention to the policies and the parties and the people who are pitching to lead our country, because it's a really important time for our country to be led and to be led well. Now, because our lid has been flipped, and I was thinking about this before, I've talked about this a couple times on the blog. I just sort of been thinking, okay, now that things are starting to simmer down in the States, not really, but naturally our lid is going to start to close a bit, and which will be good collectively for Canada to come back into some sort of window of tolerance, whatever that might be, before we were heading into our pace with election and speeches and things. I was kind of looking forward to this election, I'm not going to lie. But the rapid pace is distressing. I'm distressed by it. And it's good for us to notice that it feels like a lot of pressure. The speed of this choice and the necessity to start paying attention. This is not a time to collapse. What does collapse mean? Collapse is when we are in distress and we don't just fall into a place of rest, we fall into a place of distress, or inability to function, a lethargy. We don't want to fall into a collapse. We need to find a place. Sorry, I feel so prescribing. We need to. Our wise mind is so essential in this moment. If we get hooked into our behaviors, if we get hooked into our feelings, if we get hooked into our perceptions and our thinking. So we need this wisdom to balance and weigh through how we can be kind to ourselves and also take charge of ourselves, because our decision is each our own. We still adhere to democracy, and it is really important that we consider how we're leaning into our decision. This is all of the psychology. There's pressure behind us, there's pressure before us, and there's pressure around us. It's not an easy time to vote. Okay, so this is all of the environmental, the sort of the condition, the context that our psychology is feeling pressure by, our mental anguish, our lid is flipped, our window of tolerance is harder to find and harder to maintain. So again, first thing, we want to get informed. We want to know the leaders who are heading up the parties. We want to pay attention to the policies and procedures. We want to understand who the people are alongside of the campaigns. And it's really important to consider the value of understanding more than just like, this is the party I've always chosen, so this is the party I will always choose. It's a great time to start to sense into my intuition and my choice. I get to choose. We don't have to choose with everybody in our home. We don't have to choose with all of the people that we love. It's an individual choice, and we really need some space. Again, we really need, but I think for what's coming afterwards, it is a necessity. There's some peace of mind participating in the vote and participating in your own choice in that vote, because whatever comes next, there will be some comfort and some resolve in knowing that I did vote, rather than collapsing, rather than closing my eyes and not paying attention to the painful, complex choice that we're all faced with. So your decision is your own. Now, again, the risk with this political climate, and it's just always in the political climate, these are some of the traps that we fall into. Lisa's been doing some series on thinking traps. Some of this is thinking traps. Some of it is socialized traps. It's a language that we use. One thing is polarization. From an attachment perspective, I feel passionate, so I think I'm stuttering. Bear with me. When we feel passionate, we can seek to require sameness. Requiring sameness is always disorganizing. It's human nature to be flawed and fabulous. It's human nature to not quite be 100% on the same page. And this is the beauty of the glass bead game, your Hermann Hesse, that part of what helps us refine more into our humanness and more into our spiritual awakening, our existential shifts, is the fact that when we are in corporate care, when we're in community, when we're practicing eldering, as David Tenson would speak about, we're actually growing in our own attunement to self and others, and creating a better space, a larger window of tolerance to tolerate matters of differences. For some reason right now, there's a lot of pressure to be the same. And it hasn't always been this way. So if you're like, why, I have to be 100% the same as somebody else, or I can't be in relationship with them, it wasn't always this way. And many of us know this. There's older, wiser people than me in the experience where we didn't have to agree on the vote. We didn't have to agree politically in order to be in unity, or in order to be friendly. We can be kind to people who are different, and we don't have to expect other people to 100% agree with us. That's polarizing. Also, the sensationalizing that's going on. There is fake news, whether you like the person who's talking about the fake news or not. And there's many people who are. And so it's really wise, because of the sensationalizing of news and politics, to get our information from more than one source, and more than one nation, and more than one continent. Okay. So there's really an importance to have some breadth to what we are discovering. And I know I just said, like, titrate, take what you can at the pace that you can, at the volume that you can. But within that, trying to expand your ability to go to more than one source for information. Don't just listen to the CBC. Don't just listen to CTV. Don't just listen to Global, and don't just stay in Canadian news right now. Let's venture out to get different perspectives. This is what the glass bead game is about. Just politically here, I'm saying, like, yeah, it's good to hear what our neighbors are saying, the neighbors to the south, our neighbors across the pond, all of our neighbors. And then group thinking. This is another thing where, I mean, I'm sure many of us have had this experience, but that was a lot of my experience politically before, was you just sort of like go with the loudest opinion, and that's how you consider your own. And rallying the troops or creating a common enemy to create false sense of unity. Group thinking is risky business right now. There's a good sense that as adults, we can have our individual opinion, so that we can come back into the collective assured of who we are. We don't want to be stuck in this individualistic culture forever. It's doing us great damage. We want to find our way back to the collective culture, but our wisdom also needs to help us first connect with ourselves. I wrote a book on this, right? Like I'm thinking like my positive view of self is really essential to my positive view of others, and then my positive view of inclusive love, the place where we all belong. And so my bias again is that part of this experience is if my lid is flipped, if I'm outside of my window of tolerance, I'm not feeling positive about me, it is going to impact my ability to lean into trusting my choice and my decision going into the election. It's also going to impact my ability to be informed. And it might become just a barrier to actually voting. I really worry about the experience on the other side of this vote and whatever's coming in our future for us if we do not take our own individual vote. I think the good psychology right now is be informed. Be informed about your own opinion. Find your intuition. I'm not going to ascribe to you what intuitively you should choose. And at this moment, I still don't know what my choice will be for this election. But intuitively sinking into, I guess, what my choice needs to be for me, moving forward into a large time of global distress. Globally, we're in distress again. Somebody said to me the other day, this reminds me a lot of pandemic times, the stress. I was like, yeah. And my sister sent me a meme, and it was really cute, cheeky, that said, I haven't taken down my pandemic decorations, and it's already time to put up the World War III decorations. I mean, it's a joke, okay? I don't actually think that we need to expect for war, but it feels dangerous out there. We're all in the same soup. It's okay to notice that in abnormal times, it's normal to feel abnormal. I think that's Frankel, I'm pretty sure. So notice your stress, notice it's hard, move into the political content when you can, as you can, at your pace, be informed. And I think the best psychology of all of this, the behavioral piece, is to vote. We need to vote. I think I will feel very pained down the road if I don't vote. And if that's not your truth, that's okay too. Maybe you do sit there and you say, like, I've heard everything that Tara said about the psychological pain, and that a good suggestion as a behavioral choice is to vote, but my behavioral choice is to not participate. It's your decision, it's your intuition. And we're all in this together. But there is this painful realization that in our individualistic culture, we've lost sight of what it means to be in this together. And hopefully this is the beginning of finding our way back to more collective culture. I don't know. However, here we are. It's a hot mess. Haven't heard that one in a while. It's a hot mess. Take care of yourself. Wellness. Take care of your window of tolerance. Work smarter, not harder, but do be informed. Do be informed. And do consider your own intuition about your choice, and please do consider voting. Because your opinion does matter, but also I think your vote is a positive choice for your future mental health. And I believe that for myself, and I'll believe that when I do go to vote. So peace and love and chocolate, okay, and good TV and hot tea, bubble baths. Go swimming, get some sunshine, good music, nice book, cuddle some babies, pet a kitten, kiss your partner, get some oxytocin, get some dopamine, take care of yourself, try to choose positive ways to cocoon a little bit so that you can find your way into your own window of tolerance. Practice the things that have worked in the past. Fake it till you make it, and get informed. Trust your intuition. Your choice is your own, and vote. All right, you guys. Peace and love. Oh, it's a hard time.